रचना मैम, पहचाना हमें?
अरे यू आर माई स्टूडेंट फ्रॉम दैट कॉलेज। क्या कैसे चल रहा है?
कुछ ना मैम, सब बढ़िया। अभी अभी शादी हुई है।
ओहो, मतलब एकदम जोरदार चल रहा होगा।
आपका भी तो एकदम जोरदार चल रहा होगा अभी।
मेरा क्या संबंध?
आप अभी आईपीओ निकल रहे हो ना, आरआर काबिल।
आरआर काबिल को और मेरा क्या संबंध है?
रचना रानडे, आरआर।
Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a very interesting IPO summary video of RR Kabel. Let me give you a basic disclosure. I don't have anything to do with the company. RR doesn't stand for Rachana Ranade. R stands for Ratni Devi Kabra and R stands for Rameshwar Lal Kabra. But you might be like, what is the connection between these people and the promoters of the company? And for that, you need to know who are the promoters of the company. For that, have a look at this. Well, the promoters are Tribhuvan Prasad Rameshwar Lal Kabra, who is the current executive chairman of the company, his brother Shri Gopal Rameshwar Lal Kabra, who is the managing director of the company, and their sibling Mahendra Kumar Rameshwar Lal Kabra, who is the joint managing director of the company. And all three have an extensive experience in the electrical industry, and they have named this company in the name of their parents. Well, now that you have understood some basic facts about the company, let's go into the main point as to what does the company do. Well, the company is into two major segments. The very first one is wires and cables and the second one is FMEG. Now, FMEG is nothing but fast moving electrical goods. But if you were to visualize the product portfolio, I would want you all to look at this chart. In the category of wires, they do have two subcategories. One is house wires and the other one is industrial wires. If you were to go to cables, they have two subcategories again. One is power cables and the other one is specialty cables. If I were to go to the FMEG category, you can see four subtypes here. They also make fans, be it lighting, switch and switch gear, and the last one is appliances. Well, now that you have understood what does the company do, you have understood the two major segments of the company. Now you need to understand how much revenue is contributed by each segment and also the geographical bifurcation of the revenue. And for that, have a look at this chart. Now, if you see, the wires and cables has contributed almost 88.56% if I'm talking about fiscal year 23, and FMEG contributed to 11.44%. But if I'm talking about 3 months ended latest data, 30th June 2023, this has gone up to 89.09% in wires and cables, and in FMEG, it has gone up to 10.91%. If I were to have a look at the revenue bifurcation, you can see that within India and outside India, within India has contributed to 77.31%, whereas exports have contributed to 22.69%. Well, exports have shot up from this figure to 26.94% as at 30th June ended 2023, and within India sale has dropped a bit to 73.06%. Of course, the absolute numbers have not dropped. It is about the percentage allocation that has dropped. Now let's understand about the manufacturing facilities of this company. The very first one is about where do they manufacture wires and cables, and they manufacture in two different manufacturing facilities. One at Waghodia, Gujarat. The second one is at Silvassa, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. So whatever is the demand for wires and cables, 100% of the demand is met through in-house manufacturing. But as far as the FMEG is concerned, they have three manufacturing facilities. One at Roorkee, one at Gagret and one at Bangalore. Now whatever demand is received in the FMEG, only 37% of that is met through these manufacturing units, and balance is either outsourced from contract manufacturing or they actually buy it and sell it as traded goods. Now, moving ahead with an important point about distribution. Now, why is this important? Because if I'm talking about a company wherein it can be a lot of B2C business, in that case, you need to have a very good distribution. So, as at 30th June 2023, this company had 3,450 distributors, 3,656 dealers, and 1,14,851 retailers, all on a non-exclusive basis. If I'm talking about the warehouses, they have 21 warehouses across 17 states and union territories, and also they have a large network of electricians with 2,71,264 electricians across India as at 31st March 2023. Well, the company does not sell only in India. We have discussed this. They also sell outside India, and currently they are selling their products to 63 countries in North America, Asia Pacific region, Europe and the Middle East. Now let's quickly glance through the economy and industry related data, and everyone knows about the economy related data. I'll quickly glance through it, right? First point is that India is ranked 5th in the world in terms of nominal GDP. That happened in fiscal 2022, and it is expected that we go to rank number 3, surpassing Germany and Japan by fiscal 2030. The second point is that India has one of the youngest populations globally. Everyone knows that urbanization is increasing in India, nuclear families are increasing in India, we have a growing middle class, and digitization is also growing. All these are going to be suitable points for the company as well. Now, if I go to industry related data points, let's have a look at some key charts. Now, if you see here, the Indian wires and cables market, it is expected to grow at 13% CAGR from financial year 23 to financial year 27, whereas the entire FMEG market is expected to grow at different CAGRs. You can see that in this column where you can see 7%, 7%, 7%, and 11% respectively. But all in all, this seems to be a fair enough growth. Now, if I were to check out the share of branded and non-branded players in all the categories, be it wires and cables or be it in terms of FMEG, everywhere you can see that the branded category demands a big market share, and this being dominated by the branded category is again going to be a positive sign for the company. Now, if I look at again the economy related points, something like what is government doing to give a push to this sector? Well, they are going ahead with something known as multimodal logistic parks, something like Gati Shakti National Master Plan, local data centers and airports. Of course, everyone also knows about the domestic EV market, which is estimated to grow at a 47% CAGR between 2022 and 2030, and all these points are going to add up to the demand of the company. Now let's go to the financials part, and for that what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a financial snapshot which is very much a part of RHP. The only thing is that all rupees that are mentioned in RHP are in millions and we are used to listening to in crores. So how to convert millions into crores? It's nothing but just remove one zero. So just as an example, 1000 millions is going to be 100 crores. Revenue from operations has gone up from 27,239.41 to 43,859 to 55,992, basically in an increasing trend. But if you have a look at the profit numbers, it has gone up from 21 to 22, but it has then slided down a bit in 2023. Even if you have a look at the EBITDA margins, it went down from 9.22% to 7.98% and again down to 6.35%. Well, if you have a look at even the PAT margin, it has gone down from 4.93% to 4.83% and then to 3.37%. But if you look at the 3 months ended data, you can see that the revenue has gone up as compared to 2022. Even the profit margin is up. Even if you check at the PAT margin or be it the EBITDA margin, everything looks good in the 3 months ended data. Now, if you have a look at the ROCE numbers, it has gone up from 13.59% to 17.41%, but then down to 15.57%. Similarly, ROE has gone up from 13.88% to 18.63% and down to 14.22%. But the debt to equity ratio is pretty much comfortable because it's way lower than even 1:1. Now, if you have a look at the working capital cycle, be it trade receivables or inventory days, all are down in 2023 as compared to 22 and 21, which is a good sign. But trade payables are in a little bit shaky zone. Now let's understand the risks and strengths of the company. First, let's start with the risks. The very first one is about the cost of material that is required. If I were to understand the cost of material as compared to the total expenses, that ranges to more than 80%. Want to have a look at some data points? Okay, have a look at this chart. Now, be it 21 or 22 and 23, everywhere you can see cost of material consumed as a percentage of total expenses is definitely above 80%. Now, if you see that this is one crucial point, in addition to this, the cost of raw material is subject to volatility, is subject to fluctuation, and this can have a direct impact on the profitability and on the cash flows of the company. There are a few more risks. The one more risk could be the availability of counterfeit products. Now, what do we mean by that? Duplicate products. If more and more duplicate products are sold, obviously the revenue of this company is going to be hampered. One more important point is that they have a significant power and fuel requirement. So if power and fuel costs rise, this can again have an increase in expense of the production, and it can again hamper the profitability and cash flows of the company. Now let's move on to the strengths of the company, and for that again let's have a look at the image which is there in the RHP of the company. You can see that they have a scaled B2C business, they have a diverse suite of products, they have a good distribution network, well-recognized consumer brands, technologically advanced facilities, well-positioned for growth in FMEG segment, and experienced and committed professional management team. Well, now if I were to go ahead with the peer comparison, the problem here is that as per the RHP, the number of peers is pretty large. It ranges from Havells India Limited, Polycab India Limited, KEI Industries Limited, Finolex Cables Limited, V-Guard Industries Limited, Crompton Greaves Consumers Electricals Limited, and Bajaj Electricals Limited. Now if I were to read out all the numbers for various parameters, something like, revenue, PAT margin, EBITDA margin, and valuations and everything, it'll take at least 5 minutes. So instead of that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the 2 screenshots which are very much a part of the RHP. You can pause the video, you can take screenshots, and then do your own analysis. And for that, have a look at these charts. This is the data about the financials. I hope you have taken the screenshot. And this is the data about valuations. Well, let's move on with the IPO details. Issue has already opened today, that is on 13th of September, closes on 15th of September. Price band is 983 to 1035. Total issue size is 1964.01 crores, but it's a combination of fresh issue and offer for sale. Fresh issue is 180 crores and offer for sale is 1784.01 crores. Well, this money will go to the selling promoters or the selling investors. The lot size is 14 shares. Minimum application is 14,490. Maximum application is 1,88,370. But wait, if I were to go back to fresh issue, which is amounting to 180 crores, whatever money is received by the company, partial amount of that is going to be used for debt repayment and partial is going to be used for general corporate purposes. I hope you enjoyed a short and sweet summary of a 485-pager RHP. If you did like it, don't forget to smash the button, don't forget to smash the like button, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. I hope you enjoyed this one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.